because you have decided that no matter what, you are going to stand your ground and you're only going to allow things that you can trust won't steal and kill the things and the plan that God has over your life. Guys, I feel this in the spirit. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Ooh, God is. I have everything that I need. I have a ring light, a microphone, a camera that is just so good. I have everything I need, guys. And all of it is just, it just doesn't want to work anymore. Either way, no matter what, I'm going to get this out for you guys. This video is honestly probably like one of the craziest videos I've ever filmed. I probably say that all the time, but like this video, guys, is just filled with so many nuggets and things that anyone and everyone who is under the sound of my voice just needs to hear. It's life-changing. It's game-changing. It is just pure gold. And all glory to God. God gave me every single word. It's just, so necessary. So necessary. And I think that when people can finally understand the concept of boundaries, then we can live in a world with so much more peace. And at least you, even if you're living in a world of hell and people are not in peace and they're miserable, you can live in a world of peace because you have understood the importance of boundaries and how to set them and why to set them and what they are and what they look like for you. And when you can finally truly understand that for yourself, it will change your entire life. The concept of freedom is something that I think is so misunderstood by so many people, especially in our country. I mean, I remember growing up and I would have friends that would just do whatever they wanted to do crazy stuff. And I'd be like, why'd you do that? Or, oh my God, like, don't do that. You might get in trouble. And they would all say, we live in a free country. Like, I can do what I want. Or I just know in this day and age, what freedom looks like is I'm going to do whatever I feel whenever I feel like it. That is the definition of freedom for so many people, especially people our age. Our generation has been brought up to believe that you can do whatever you feel whenever you feel like it, and that is true freedom. And I come against that right now. That is not true freedom. When you live a life without boundaries, you are living a life controlled by your desires. You're living a life controlled by the people around you, believe it or not. You're living a life controlled by so many things other than yourself. And everybody and everything else is controlling you except for yourself, because you think, hey, I'm just gonna live however I want to, whenever I want to, and just let anything happen, and I'm just gonna go with the flow. And you're living a life controlled by everything and everyone, and you can't get a grip on your life and your reality because you have never decided to set boundaries. True freedom means having boundaries. True freedom happens in a controlled environment. How can you control the outcome and the results of your life if it's not controlled? You need to control it by setting boundaries. That is true freedom. And I know when we think of freedom, it's like, oh, it's my right to say and do what I feel and what I want. And you know what true freedom is? True freedom is your right to set boundaries. That's what true freedom is. True freedom is your right to say, I am going to set this boundary, and this is what I'm going to allow into my life and what I'm going to keep out. That is freedom. But in order to live in that life of freedom with boundaries, in order to set boundaries, you must first be self-aware and know your self-worth. And if you don't know your self-worth, guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be allowing everything and everyone to control you and tell you where you go and tell you what you're going to do with your life and dictate your future and dictate how your day's going to go. And you're going to have no freedom and no control over your life because you don't know your worth, because you don't know that you can say no, because you don't know that you don't have to do whatever you feel whenever you feel like it, that you can be disciplined and have boundaries. And when you know your self-worth and you know what you can tolerate and what you won't tolerate from yourself, from the people around you, and from your habits and your actions, when you know your worth and what you will decide to tolerate and what you will decide to believe for yourself, that is when true freedom starts. And that's when you can start setting boundaries that are healthy for you. When we look at boundaries, boundaries aren't walls that we set up around ourselves. Our boundaries is not like our room, these solid walls that we set up. No, boundaries are more like something that you can filter things in and out of. So for example, that rich friend, or even if you just watch the Kardashians, those rich people and the people that, just have really beautiful houses and prized possessions that they need to protect, they have a gate around their house. They have a fence with a gate around their house. And that gate dictates what they're going to allow in and what they're going to keep out. And so when you have boundaries, it's like having that gate set up in your life and in your heart. You are allowed to say no to the things that are bad and that are negative and are unhealthy for you. And you're allowed to say yes, come in to the good things, to the things that are of God, to the things that are going to benefit you and are healthy to you. That's what boundaries look like. That gate. Now it's up to you to decide what that's going to look like in your life. Are you going to allow anything to just come in and out of your life, or are you going to set a gate? And at that gate, are you going to say no to the things that are unhealthy and bad for you? And are you going to say yes to the things that are good for you? That's something you need to ask yourself. And that is something that you need to be passionate about for yourself, so that you can live a life of true freedom and live a life the way God wants you to live it, a life of abundance, a life of peace, a life of fulfillment. That is the key, guys. Boundaries. What are you going to let in and out of your life? You can have the most perfect, beautiful life with, the perfect, beautiful people, the most amazing house. You can have it all. But if you don't have boundaries, you can live a life of misery and depression and anxiety, even having everything that you want, because you never set boundaries. You never said, I am going to only let the good and the God things in, and I'm going to keep the bad out. Like the Kardashians and Drake or whoever who has a beautiful, amazing home filled with treasures and things that they need to protect. They know the worth of their home and the things within it and the things within those walls. So they don't say yes to whoever wants to come in. No, they're strict with who they allow into their home because they know the worth of their home. Do you know the worth of your soul? Do you know the worth of what's inside of you? If you truly knew how much you were worth and how much what is inside of you is worth, then you would learn to say no to the things that are not healthy and beneficial and are going to rob you of your peace, of your joy, of your freedom. And so when you learn the worth and the price tag that is on you and on the things inside of you, then you're going to really learn to say no to the things that are going to steal your peace. And you're going to set strict boundaries and strict rules on who you allow in and what you allow in to your life and into your heart. So how do you set boundaries, you may ask? Simple. The way you set boundaries is by learning to say no. That is how you set boundaries. You must learn to say no. And in order to learn to say no, you need to know your worth. So it all boils down to that. Once I know my worth, I know that I can say no to things, that I don't have to tolerate everything and anything that comes my way. I can say no. I don't have to let everything in. I can filter out what I believe is healthy and beneficial for my life, and I can leave out those bad things that I know are not going to benefit me and are going to steal my freedom. You are so precious, and what is within you is so, so precious. You can't continue to just say yes to whoever and whatever in your life. You need to learn to say no. You need to guard what you have, and that includes your peace, your sanity, your character. That includes your influence and your freedom to say yes and no. You need to guard those things with your life. You will never become the healthiest version of you if you can't learn to say no. If you can't learn to set boundaries, you will never become the best and healthiest version of you, because you are going to continue to allow things in that are negative, that don't serve you, and are toxic to you. And that includes mindsets, strongholds, people, habits, unhealthy habits, toxic substances. That's everything that can come into your life and rob you of your peace. Those are the things that are going to steal from you your freedom to become the healthiest version of you. I'm sure most of us who have been a Christian for a good while now have heard the verse Proverbs 4:23, which says, "Guard your heart above all else, for everything you do flows from it." And I think that that is so important. And I know that when they wrote that, they didn't just say that everything you do flows from it just to exaggerate it. It's really true. when you learn to guard what's inside of you, and that includes your thought processes, your beliefs. I think what your heart includes is your beliefs and your values and what you're going to tolerate and not. And when you guard that with all that you have, and everything that you do will reflect that. But if you continue to allow things into your heart that are negative, draining, ugly, toxic, that's what's gonna flow out of you, and you're gonna become a negative and toxic and draining person. But if you wanna be a happy, peaceful, best version of you, then you need to learn how to guard your heart and guard what's inside of you with all that you have at all costs. Because what's gonna flow out of you when you do that is gonna be peace, joy, happiness, a person that you can be proud of, a person that people want to be around, and you can dictate that by your boundaries and what you're going to set in your life. You need to decide with all the information that you're given on a daily basis what you're going to allow in and what you're going to keep out. And so when you're scrolling through Instagram, when you're reading a book, when you're talking to someone, when someone speaks over your life, you get to decide whether you keep that within you and you allow that in through that gate, and you can decide if you're going to keep that away and you're not going to let it beyond that gate. That's up to you to decide, and you're going to make that decision based on how you see yourself and the worth that you give yourself. All of us are equally as worthy because Jesus died for every single one of us, no matter how ugly our sin, no matter how ugly our past. Every single person on this planet has the same worth because Jesus paid the same price for every single person. So your worth is priceless. There is nothing and no one that can take that from you. There is nothing and no one that can take that from you because God gave it to you. And last I checked, there's only one God, and only He can tell you what you're worth. And God says you're priceless, that you're worth everything. He sent His one and only Son to take your place and die for you. That shows how much you're worth to God. And if you're that much to God, you need to treat yourself as such. You need to know what's inside of you, the treasure that you are. And you need to learn to say no to the things that are not going to benefit you. Guys, I can't stress it enough. I know I'm going to say it so many times in this video, but please learn to say no to the things that are toxic, that don't serve you, that don't edify you, that are negative, that are bringing you down, that are causing you to live without peace, that are causing you to live in sadness, that are causing you to be miserable, that are causing you to have rifts in all of your relationships. You're wondering, why can't I have a good relationship with someone? Why can't I have a good relationship with my parents and my siblings and my pastors? And why do all relationships mess up? The common denominator is you. And maybe that's because you've allowed so much toxicity into your life and into your heart and into who you are that now that's all you spew out. That's all you spew out because that's what's in your heart. And so nobody wants to be around that. Nobody wants to be with someone that just drains them and is negative because they're learning to set boundaries. And so you need to too. You need to learn to take out the bad inside of you and only allow good to come in. And sometimes we struggle so much with seeing how much we're worth that we only allow the bad things to come in, and we literally say no to the good. I mean, I remember for myself, when I first started talking to my boyfriend, Khalil, he was so good to me. Like from the jump, he respected me. He was a good man. He had convictions. He was what I knew I wanted in a husband. And I knew that he was going to become my husband. But instead of having a gate, I had walls up. And I would let negative things into my life, and I would deny the things that God was trying to bless me with, like my boyfriend Khalil. And I was the type of person that I was like, I have so much self-worth. That's why I'm so guarded, because I know who I am. I know what I'm worth. But little did I know, I was allowing so many negative things into my life, and I was denying the one positive, amazing, and beautiful thing that God was trying to give me because I knew my self-worth. I didn't want to, let something bad in. And, that negative self-talk that we give ourselves is so fear-based. And it has so much to do with the things that were spoken over us. So for example, all I've seen in my life were failed marriages. Even my own parents had a failed marriage. And because of that, I thought, you know what? My marriage is going to be a failed marriage. My husband's going to cheat on me. I allowed that thought that did not come from me and did not come from God. It came from the enemy, and it was spoken over me by dark, evil forces. And I was told constantly, you're never going to have a successful marriage. Your husband is going to cheat on you. You're not going to be good enough for your husband. those things just were spoken over me, and I took them all and I was like, yep, I received that. That's true. And so when the time came for God to bless me with someone that was not going to hurt me and was not going to cheat on me, I could not see that for myself. I had believed for so long that what I was worth was a failed marriage, was a marriage where I was going to get cheated on. Ooh, guys, I feel this so strong in my spirit. There are so many things that you have agreed to, and that is why you are allowing negative things into your life and you're denying the positive, because you have agreed that you're not worth an amazing marriage, that you're not worth an amazing career, that you're not worth having peace. There are things that have been spoken over you because of what you've gone through and the trauma and the things that you have seen growing up that you have agreed to that were not true, that were lies from the enemy. And because you agreed to them, now you can no longer allow good things into your life and you're just spewing out the bad. And I just remember for so long, I would be like, I hate men. Men are trash. And I was just spewing out so much negativity that were lies from the enemy, and I couldn't see it. I was so proud of myself for hating men. It's so disgusting. And I know so many of us women fall into that trap because we see that there are men that don't treat us like we deserve. But that doesn't mean that we have to let those certain men into our life. And that doesn't mean that we have to speak death over every single man, because the truth is, mama, the truth is, queen, that you're going to find a king that's going to treat you the way you deserve, who's going to love you the way you deserve to be loved, and is not going to cheat on you, and he's not going to be trash to you, because you're going to allow that into your life. And the only reason why you're not going to get that is because you're not going to allow the good into your life, and you're just going to allow the bad. When you learn to surrender your heart and your mind to God, and you learn to set boundaries, the only thing that can come into your life and your circle is good things. And even if that person hurts you, even if Kalel, my boyfriend, decides one day to hurt me, cheat on me, leave me, whatever the case may be, first of all, it'll go against his character. But second of all, it's not going to affect me, because guess what? I know my worth. I know who God created me to be. I know that God is for me and not against me. These are things that I have agreed to, and I'm not going to agree to I'm not good enough, or I deserve to be cheated on, or I'm not going to agree to those things anymore. I'm not going to submit to these ugly, pathetic voices in my head telling me that I'm not good enough, that I don't have worth, that, you know, all I can receive is negative. I am no longer going to have a pity party and accept those things into my life. If you want to live a life of peace and a life of abundance and a life that you are proud of, then you need to learn how to only let the positive and the uplifting and the edifying and the God things into your life, and deny and reject everything that is not of God, everything that does not serve you, and everything that is unhealthy to you. And that includes, guys, any relationship. And that could even be family. That goes as far to say as if there is a relationship in your life that is blood, but they don't serve you and they are negative to you and they are hurting you, you keep that at a distance. You keep that behind that gate. Yeah, you guys can talk. You guys can, you can pray over that person, but they're not allowed into your heart. They're not allowed in there, because you have decided that no matter what, you are going to stand your ground and you're only going to allow things that you can trust won't steal and kill the things and the plan that God has over your life. Guys, I feel this in the spirit. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Ooh, God is so good. God is speaking right now. And I just pray that you guys can learn to set boundaries, because you guys are kings and you guys are queens. You guys don't deserve to be allowing negative and ugly things into you anymore. I don't know if anybody has ever told you this, and maybe you've lived your whole life, and that was me. I lived my whole life only allowing the negative to come in. And I hope you can make this decision every single day of your life to only allow the things that are going to serve you and that are going to heal you and are going to help you and restore you and bring you peace into your heart, and that you can reject every evil, negative, and unhealthy thing in your life. And I hope that this can also help you to put down the substance that is hurting you, that is killing you from inside. Put it down. You don't need it anymore. Know your worth. I hope that this can help you to end those relationships that are toxic and are killing you and are filling you with self-doubt and negative self-talk. Maybe that's a fiance. I don't know. Maybe that's your bestest friend that you've grown up with. Maybe that's your cousin. Maybe that's your boyfriend that you thought that you were going to marry. If they are someone who is robbing you of your peace, robbing you of your joy, robbing you of the best version of you, please, mama, please, King, erase it from your life. If that's a person, if that's a substance, if that's an unhealthy habit, gone. It can't cross the gate of your heart. It can't be let in. No more. Not only that, but if you're anything like me and you just want to say yes to everyone and anything and every opportunity that comes your way because FOMO and because you just don't want to be that one person that said no to your friend or your pastor or whoever who asked you for a favor, you need to learn to say no in that area as well, even though it's hard because we're like, oh, I just want to be the superhero. And we have this misconception that if I can help everyone, then I'm Jesus or I'm like Jesus. But the truth of the matter is none of us are God. None of us can do it all for everyone. We can only give so much of ourselves, and we have to learn when we're giving too much of ourselves that we're no longer feeling healthy, that we're no longer feeling energized enough to do what we're compromising to do the things that we're saying yes to. I mean, it's even in the Bible. Galatians 6:5 says, everybody must carry their own burden. I mean, I'm going to share in the burdens of my brothers and my sisters because that's what Christ calls me to do. And as a type 2, that's what I naturally and instinctively do. But there comes a point where it's too much. Either that person is just not taking responsibility for their actions and for their own life, and they're just trying to dump it all on you. Or maybe you've just said yes to too many people. Quality over quantity, guys. It's not always quantity, but sometimes it's quality. Maybe you can only help 2 people this season. Maybe this season you're doing so good and you're just overflowing and you can help 10 people. I don't know what that number is for you, but you know. And you know how much is too much for you. Learn to set healthy boundaries in what you eat, what you take in through your mouth. Learn to set healthy boundaries in what you do and your habits and your job and your relationships and all of it, guys. I can go on for days about where to set healthy boundaries. But I think at this point, it kind of just is a universal thing. If whatever it is not serving you, is unhealthy to you, is bringing you down, you need to let go of it. No matter what people say, whether maybe your parents are telling you, you need to go to that school and you need to get that degree because, it's the best thing for you. If you know that it's not benefiting you anymore, that it's no longer serving you, that it's not going to be good for you even when you're finished with that degree, you know what's best for yourself and you need to let go of it. No matter what people say, no matter what you've been taught to believe, no matter what agreement you've come up with, you need to start changing some agreements in your head, and you need to know what you're worth and what you want. And that takes someone who is willing to be self-aware, know their self-worth, and know what they're going to say yes and no to. This is so important, and I pray that every single one of you can learn to implement this. I am working every single day to implement this in all areas of my life. I had to quit my job. I said this in a previous video. I can leave this video, or I think it's up here. That video up here as well, so you can see. But I had to quit my job because it was no longer serving me and it was hurting me. And it was just so toxic to me and it drained me, and I had to learn that is something I'm not going to let into my gate. And another example is, even though me and my boyfriend love each other, we have learned to set boundaries in a relationship because we are deciding that what we are worth is waiting for each other for marriage. And even though some of these boundaries may seem like, is it really that bad? I'm just enjoying, a good time with my boyfriend, or I'm just enjoying getting money from this company. And sometimes, the things in your life that you need to cut off look good. They look good. I mean, I would enjoy just not waiting for marriage and just having sex now. I mean, that's what my flesh wants. That's what I desire, but that is not what's going to benefit me in the long run. What's going to benefit me in the long run is waiting for the time that God has assigned. It's the best time for me to be 100% vulnerable to someone and let them into that part of my life and be intimate with them, because they have committed the rest of their life to me, so I know they're not going anywhere. So there's no competition. It's 100% free, and it's just so much better. And I'm choosing that for me because I know my worth. And maybe eating all the chocolates in the world sounds so delicious, and eating whatever you want sounds so awesome, and it's going to feel good and it's going to taste good and it's just going to be good at this moment. But is it going to benefit you in the long term? How are you treating your body? Do you love your body? Do you find worth in your body? And you can see that through your actions, by what you eat and how often you're active, and what you do with your body and how you treat it. And that goes with everything, with relationships, with guys. I can go on and on and on, but Even if it feels good and looks good, doesn't mean it is good for you. And you need to have enough self-worth to say, yeah, this feels good. Yeah, this may look good, but it's not good, because I know how it's going to affect me. I know what I'm worth. I know that I'm worth waiting for marriage. I know that I'm worth being healthy and fit. I know that I'm worth having peace. And even though this person may be, an amazing person, they're robbing me of my peace. Maybe that job is making you so much money and you're just balling and balling and balling. But if it's robbing you of your peace, is it worth it? Is all that money worth it? I mean, I think the most important thing should be your peace and your happiness and your joy. So I just pray that we can surrender our hearts to God and we can set healthy boundaries in our life. I love you all so much. I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Please don't forget to subscribe down below. Subscribe. If you have not subscribed and you're watching this video, subscribe. Get me to 200 subscribers. I think we're like 30 or 35 away from 200. I think we can do it. I think we can get to 200 subscribers. Subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell so you're notified every single time I post a new video. If you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below what your favorite part of this video was. Share this video with someone you know that needs it. I hope that every single person that watches this sends it to at least one person they know that needs it, and that's just anyone. So just send it to anyone, anybody in your contact list, any one of your friends. Send this video to at least one person, and I pray that your week can be filled with healthy boundaries and that you can stay safe during this time. Love you guys so much, and I can't wait to see you next week. Bye, everybody.